Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Political Command Center in Africa headquarters. Thank you very much for watching us this morning. Thank you very much, Miriam, for going through the newspapers and the current events that have taken place in Kenya, and you have explained audibly what we mean by the current headlines, what is making headlines, what will happen, what do we expect, what is in the court. We shift gears now to diplomatic leaks. We have seen a number of diplomats flocking to His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the president-elect, according to Chebukati. And we have seen a lot of congratulatory messages that have poured in. It is expected, especially the Eastern European delegates who have actually camped at Ruto's residence, congratulating him. It is very sad, therefore, I will make a takeaway later. It is sad to be an African and not to be able to know the constitution of another African country. It is also very sad to be a diplomat, but not to know the constitution of that country. That you create more anxiety and you create more confusion to the citizens that are traumatized by the fake results that have been declared. So for diplomats and presidents of Africa, most of them, to come and issue letters, long letters, congratulating, they are trying to cause confusion in Kenya. Because the Constitution of Republic of Kenya is very clear, and this is the Constitution, Miriam, and the panel is clear. I don't speak about any constitution. It is this one. You can only be given a congratulatory message when you have gone through the hurdles of declaration form number 34D, which has generated several other forms that are going to be through the Supreme Court in the next 5 days to come. It is only until that the clear hurdles are over. The diplomats in this country watching me, those who want to learn political science, should hire experts like Dr. Matsanga and other Africans who have read several constitutions of South Sudan, of South Africa, of Zimbabwe, of Tanzania, of Uganda. In fact, I have the Uganda original constitution. It is in the head and in the hard copy. It is until all what the diplomats should have said and the presidents should have written is, we congratulate your party, UDA, for having won an election. And we hope that you will go through the constitutional arrangements, and we look forward to your inauguration. Once the constitutional arrangement, if I were writing a message of hope, a message of hope for the people of Kenya, if I were president, a diplomat in Kenya, I would like to go and visit Dr. William Samoei Ruto, if I were a diplomat, to congratulate his party for having won the election and having got a certificate, waiting the clearance of the Supreme Court, which is 14 days. I think that is all I want on these diplomatic leaks. I want to teach people. I'm a lecturer. I did political science. I teach people. And I want to teach the diplomats here who don't know what diplomacy is. You can't come to a country called Kenya and then you start running around with your suits, going to congratulate when the process is halfway. Usually you should advise your country, your government, and say, here's one, the party, UDA, Kenya Kwanza, has won elections in Kenya and has gone with a certificate of president-elect. But there is contention, a contentious arrangement through a constitutional arrangement. That's the word I was looking for. A constitutional arrangement, Miriam, that says you have to go through the Supreme Court. If within 14 days, if there are no petitions and no complaints raised by any citizen of the Republic of Kenya, anybody who was a contestant in the elections of presidency, then that certificate is valid. As we stand today, Ruto's certificate is not valid. It was cancelled on Monday when 9 petitions, and let diplomats hear me, 9 petitions were labeled against his candidature and against IEBC, the body that conducted elections in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important that we teach people protocol, manners, and diplomacy and international relations. I did not waste the Queen's money, Her Majesty the Queen's money in the United Kingdom, in my university, in London Guildhall University, and Thames Valley University, and the Metropolitan University, where I went to come here and tell a lie. It is very clear that none of those, the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya does not tell you to congratulate a man who is under process. But if you are a member of the party, you love the party, Kenya Kwanza, the yellow party, you congratulate the party pending a constitutional clearance. I want to say why I am saying so. I'm saying so, Miriam, because I was in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. The Constitutional Court of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire declared Mr. Babgo the winner. People moved to the Constitutional Court and under Supreme Court. The Electoral Commission of Cote d'Ivoire, which is Ivory Coast. And I want to be a witness here. I'm not telling you. Know, there are some people who come to analyze these things. Maybe I'm on this television. And my dear sister and the panel here, when they don't even know, they have never been in Abidjan. I've been to Abidjan. I was there with Mbeki and Tabo and Chisano. Actually, Chisano was one of the people. Chisano was one of the people mandated by the African Union. By then, no, Tabo Mbeki. Chisano came for SADC. The two bodies, the Constitutional Court of Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, declared Mr. Babgo the winner of the elections. The IEBC, which was a French manufactured IEBC, declared Mr. Ouattara the president of Cote d'Ivoire. The crisis grew older, harder, became fragile, mobile. The two bodies did not rhyme. I'm bringing this history, ladies and gentlemen. Those out there listening to me, we have to learn as Africans that things can go from one position to the other because of misinterpretation caused by we human beings. The many messages that are pouring in could be a catalyst to a very dangerous situation. The many ambassadors flocking in Karen to greet Mr. William Ruto, they should now greet him as a party leader of Kenya Kwanza. Because the Constitution of Republic of Kenya did not say until the court has finalized. It is said until the court, the Supreme Court of Kenya, finalizes the arrangement, the scrutiny of all the papers, if there is a petition that has landed in court, is when you call Mr. Ruto, President-elect, going for inauguration. Whatever we are doing right now is an ad hoc committee, an ad hoc basis, a very dangerous moment where we need restraint, where we need to restrain ourselves from any utterances that can drag Kenya into a quagmire state. The leaders of the world who are pouring in messages to one side are actually belittling the democracy that Kenya has got for the last 59 years. Kenya has struggled to be a model of Africa. And I want anybody to challenge me. I want anybody, any president, Museveni, what, challenge me. I will show you that there is something that you leaders across the world are doing wrongly. I want any diplomat in this country to come and I teach him political science to that level. That you cannot congratulate when the position of the constitutional means of Kenya have not been exhausted. Under Article 138, within the 7 days after the presidential election, the chairperson of Independent Electoral Commission and the Boundaries Commission shall declare the results of the election and deliver a written notification of the result to the Chief Justice and the incumbent president. Have you seen that? Within 7 days, the chairperson of the Independent Electoral Boundaries, the chairperson, and I want you people who don't know what is going to happen here. The chairperson of Independent, it is not Chebukati. It can be anybody. As long as the commission, the key word here, Miriam, and the panel. My dear youngsters on the panel, there are two keywords here. The chairperson of what? Are you chairing trees? Do you chair trees or monkeys? Are you chairing baboons? Do you chair lions in Mara National Park? Whom are you chairing? You are a chairperson of an institution. But you must chair people, human beings. That's why they said the chairperson of. They didn't say the chairman alone. The English that I studied in Canterbury and other places in London does not tell me that when you are a chairperson, excuse me, you are a chairperson of trees. I don't know whether trees and the plants have their chairperson. But for me, what I know is when you are a chairperson, You are chairing human beings who have a right to see what you are going to present ahead. I don't want to interrogate any further than that, because the matter I wanted to bring to the notice of diplomats and the presidents across Africa. I'm going to write a paper which I will circulate to all presidents of Africa who have written. I'm more concerned about African presidents knowing constitutionalism than any other European country not knowing the constitution of Republic of Kenya. I can excuse you. But if you're a neighbor of Kenya, you don't know that until the 14 days are exhausted is when you can now fully, you can congratulate His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto and his party if you have links with that party. But you cannot begin congratulating him on behalf of the people of Kenya when the other half of 7 million point something is also waiting. You want to plunge us, you want to plunge this country into chaos, which happened in Cote d'Ivoire. That's the point. Miriam, has it come out clear? Look at what happened in Cote d'Ivoire. I have not spoken as a street vendor. I've spoken as an academic. You can cross-check what really took place that caused Cote d'Ivoire to burn down. The French pushed the Independent Electoral Commission. The French pushed the Independent Electoral Commission to announce Ouattara. The Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court of Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, announced Babako. And you know where the conflict came from. I therefore submit to the public opinion as a public prosecutor who has worked and seen several events, who has studied in Her Majesty's kingdom and Her Majesty's resources. Her Majesty did not pay my money, my school fees in the university in London for me to mislead the world. I want to thank her for having given me this education, for me to educate the world that you can only support the Communist Party, but you cannot go if there is an election in China. You write as a man thanking the Communist Party for having elected Mr. So-and-so. But equally, you must be considerate in your message so that you don't cause a conflict by saying we also thank the opposition and other leaders who did not make it. That is how to unify Africa. That people take a lesson from there and never make mistakes again. Because we are making mistakes, Miriam, and these mistakes can draw us into a quagmire. If I'm wrong, the panel, I am open just for only 5 minutes or 6 minutes before I begin a looming constitutional crisis that could plunge Kenya into a constitutional crisis. Thank you, Miriam. Back to you in the studio, and you have a background notes which you can bring us and allow Keptanui, welcome to the show. Javan Karanja from Nanyuki, welcome to the show. Douglas Kirimi from Umeru, welcome to the show. And Brenda from Mombasa, the coastal city of Mombasa, welcome to the show. Good morning, Punchline Africa. Back to you in the headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you.
All right, Doc, thank you indeed so much. And I think this is a subject that I've seen a lot of even Kenyans trying to figure out and talk about and what they consider as a premature Congratulations to the president-elect. And I think we saw the president of Zimbabwe, the president of Uganda was the first one, the former president of Somalia, President Farmajo, and we've seen Russia, we've seen some diplomats from Israel and all that. And Julius Malema has also been on our neck. I think he wants Railas to stop the court process and just let, President-elect William Ruto to be inaugurated. But we do have, doctors, you have stated in that case, we do have a process in this country that has to be respected, and that is just how we do our things. I don't know if some of these people are just out of ignorance, they don't understand the law of the land, or maybe they just don't know. I don't know. But maybe before we move on to Doc, that topic also that you lead us on, I'd like to hear perhaps comments on the same, or from Kitui, not Kitui, Kiptanui. Savania, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Actually, I was of the opinion, the way Dr. David has said, Miriam, it is actually premature, and I was also surprised to see some diplomats, Miriam, congratulating and even visiting Karen. And I don't know, Miriam, whether these things are whether this manner of taking this country in that direction is good. It is actually shame, Miriam, and it is still early for this celebration. It is still early for these congratulatory messages from these diplomats and from other countries, Miriam. What will happen if the Supreme Court will actually throw away the presidency of William Ruto? What will happen? It will make these countries to Miriam, as we said last time, it is even these countries sometimes which are bringing African countries, Miriam. After elections, we have actually seen a lot of chaos. It is in that manner that, Miriam, even if this petition will go through and will go back to the reader, go back to elections, I them. I naturally congratulate them. At the end of the day, it will be shame to their country, Miriam. What are they going to tell their people? Miriam, we have Kenyans who are in Israel. We have Kenyans who are in different parts of this country, Miriam. And I think it is still too early for them to celebrate. It is too early for these diplomats to rush to congratulate this president-elect, Miriam. Thank you.
All right, Vero, thank you. Jevan Karanja.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I think I agree with Dr. David Matsanga and my friend Kiptanui that it's too early to congratulate the said President-elect William Ruto, because we still have a looming case in the Supreme Court. What if the outcome of the Supreme Court will not favor William Ruto? Will these diplomats swallow their words? I think it is high time people respected our systems, and I don't understand why Africans, we have allowed these European nationals, even after colonizing us, they are still here around lecturing us on how we should handle our elections. I have never seen Kenyan president or diplomats lecturing these Britons and Americans on what they need to do on the elections. In fact, they carry the elections how they feel is fit for them. So they should leave us Kenyans to conduct our elections, to exhaust our judicial system so that we can have justice at the end of the day. What are they telling us? Are they supporting the baggoed election from Wafula Chebukati? Are they supporting a corrupt electoral system that we have in this country? If they cannot talk of streamlining the electoral system, if they cannot talk of culprit who committed electoral crimes taken behind bars, then there's nothing significant they are telling us. Because at the end of the day, what Raila Odinga is doing and the entire Azimio team, they are pursuing justice. Because at the end of the day, without justice, we cannot coexist peacefully as a nation. Without justice, we cannot have development. Without justice in this country, Miriam, there will be no peace. And without peace, what these Europeans do, they fly back to their nations. Therefore, at the end of the day, it's us Kenyans who have the bigger part, the bigger stake when it comes to managing our electoral affairs, to managing our country, because at the end of the day, we are the people who know the pinch of electoral malpractices. We are the people who suffered in 2007, in 2017. They didn't suffer when we were suffering. Therefore, they have no, I think their rights starts and ends with what the president of the day is telling them. Until we have a duly sworn in president, a president, when they will see President Uhuru Kenyatta congratulate William Ruto or Raila Odinga, that is when they should follow suit. Why are they outsmarting our president who have never congratulated William Ruto? They should follow all the structures. They should follow our foreign docket on the laid down structures. Therefore, at the end of the day, Miriam, I agree with Dr. David Matsanga, and I have seen also the Julius Malema telling Raila Amolo Odinga to concede defeat. I would ask him, if he was Raila Amolo Odinga, could he concede defeat in an electoral in an election that was not fair? Could he concede defeat in a rigged election? He couldn't. Therefore, he should not lecture Raila on what he should do. He should lead as an example. I saw him contest, although he didn't do it much, but their system is a bit better compared with what we have for Kenya. And their system, Miriam, is more of the college system that we have in UK, in US. Ours is a universal suffrage where one vote counts. Therefore, the systems are different from what they have in South Africa. Therefore, you should not base what is in South Africa to think that is what is happening in Kenya. I think if he supports William Ruto, he should do it without bringing Raila Amolo Odinga and the Azimio team in his arithmetic. At the end of the day, Miriam, let's go to the Supreme Court, let's give their verdict, and we welcome the diplomats to come and congratulate whoever will carry the day, whether it's William Ruto or Raila Amolo Odinga. And I want to thank the president of Congo, who have not congratulated William Ruto yet. From the entire East African community, it is only him who has not congratulated William Ruto. And I think other head of state, they should follow suit as we move to the next dispensation. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Kenya just sent another bunch of his KDF soldiers to the DRC, so that is also there. Douglas Kirimi, good morning. Your thoughts on these diplomats and their premature congratulations, because I think that is what this is.
Thank you, Miriam. I believe from what has been said by Dr. David and my co-panelists is that these people erred. The Kenyan situation is different from what these diplomats are treating us to. The kind of theatrics that they are taking us to and also trying to bring to the fore are not issues that can be able to hold water, especially in a tight presidential election that was fraudulent, an election that was a sham, and also remembering that in this country, Kenya is not just any other country. Kenya is not Ivory Coast. Kenya is not DRC Congo. Kenya is not Central African Republic. Kenya is not South Sudan. Kenya is not Somalia. And for people like Julius Malema, who are running small outfits, corruption-riddled outfits in South Africa, a man that cannot become president in South Africa because he is a corrupt man that was chased from ANC, simply because he is a corrupt man, a man who has never worked anywhere in his life. He went on live television and said he started politics as a young boy. He has never worked for any company. He has never worked for any individual to earn a coin. He entered the ANC Youth League as a small boy, teenage boy, who has never known any other way to make money rather than corruption. A person that has never earned an employment card or an access card to any building in South Africa or outside South Africa. A man that has profiteered from corruption, kind of corruption cartels that are led by William Ruto here in Kenya. People who have no moral temerity to lecture the Right Honorable Raila Odinga to concede defeat in a sham election. Today, these diplomats and the rights of Malema and other presidents should be ashamed of themselves. An election where votes cast in the name of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga would be taken from one constituency and be added to that of William Ruto in the various polling stations across the country. And for example, if you store 10 votes or 20 votes or 100 votes in every polling station, you have almost 1 million plus. If you steal 10 votes, you have over 400,000 or 500,000 votes from across the country in the name of William Ruto. And they have done that, and these diplomats led then by Rashi and Abbas, and also politicians like Julius Malema, who cannot amount to anything in South Africa, including him running a corruption cartel in South Africa. He has been named as one of the most corrupt leaders in South Africa because he has also been coercing people to give him money, or rather you will go ahead and expose them. People should be ashamed of themselves. This is our own country. We are a sovereign country. And these diplomats, if they want the next dispensation and the right honorable Odinga to be able to deal with them with fairness, they should let our local matters remain local matters. The evidence that is at the Supreme Court is overwhelming. The corruption that happened at the IBC is overwhelming. And today, we stand at a constitutional crisis where we have corrupt people whose interest, who want to protect their own interest in this country, come out to congratulate a sham election and a fraudulent election that has declared a fraud to be president-elect of a country where our own will of the people has been subverted. There is no amount of these people, diplomats and politicians across the world, that can be able to let the people of Kenya continue with their lives and also subvert the will of the people. The will of the people that was subverted at the ballot and declared illegally by Mr. Wafula Chebukati should be overturned and let the will of the people prevail in this country. There is no law that allows Mr. Raila Odinga or anyone that has taken a petition, including the senator-elect for Busia County, Mr. Okia Omtata, who has also raised very pertinent issues at the Supreme Court. If these people dare say that we, the people of Kenya, that our will at the ballot should be subverted by a sham election led by a fraudulent chairman to declare a fraud to be a president-elect of the Republic of Kenya, they should choose another country. This is not their own. This is not their own country. There are millions of Kenyans who are casting their hopes, aspirations, and ideals together with the right honorable Raila Odinga. Also, others with William Ruto. Our vote is cast based on those two people leading presidential candidates, and there is no country, no diplomat should be able to dictate on the way that we shall go as a country. We are a sovereign country, and we shall be able to make our own decisions based on what is on the table. And what is on the table today is two leading presidential candidates are in court today. William Ruto as a respondent in that case, and I believe as a respondent in that case, and also I believe the right honorable Raila Odinga as a petitioner. We want to know what transpired in that election that happened in this country. No amount of intimidation, no amount of public lectures like from Julius Malema. A small boy who cannot lecture his own president is lecturing our own opposition leaders in our country and also the government in our country. We have heard Julius Malema speak about issues in our country, whereas South Africa is suffering under xenophobia. South Africa is suffering under neo-apartheid. People are suffering in South Africa. People have no jobs in South Africa. His own political party has members of parliament. Let them take issues to parliament. Let them take bills to parliament and sort out their issues in South Africa. One of the countries that got independence rate in Africa in 1994. They have so many issues to deal to work for black South Africans. They have issues to deal with in South Africa. And also remember, he is not a spokesperson of this country. We have no international spokesperson, even a diplomat should know that. And remember, as our case is being sorted out in the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya, this is the only Supreme Court in the land that can be able to determine the fate of this country. And remember, the sham election that happened in this country, even President Kenyatta cannot commit himself to such nonsense. Even people who are people of higher caliber in this country cannot wake up today and congratulate a fraud who has been declared president-elect. It cannot happen in this country, Miriam. And we as a people in the country, we agitated. We feel bad. It is wrong. And people should give us a space as a sovereign country, independent country, and as a republic to determine the fate of our own country and where we shall go. If it's their interest they are casting with the William Ruto, well and good. They can cast that after the case has been determined. If it's Ariran, they can come with money and support him so that he can continue running for president. If it's with Raila Odinga, the same case is going to happen, Miriam. At the end of the day, we as a country, we are a sovereign, independent republic that do not require any summon or any lecture from any diplomatic mission based in Nairobi or outside the country to determine the fate of our own country as a sovereign, as a republic, and also as an independent country. Thank you.
Okay, so all I've gathered from this conversation is that these diplomats are out of order. All right, so now let's move on to our main topic of this morning. Could a constitutional crisis be looming in Kenya? And let me just do an introduction before Doc comes in and starts us off. A story on page 7
move
of this
in there, Miriam. Before you move in there, there are serious points that Douglas has raised. And this cannot be just rumbled. They are serious points. Let's bring them out. Look, it is very clear that such array congratulations have created, sparked violence elsewhere in Africa. That is one point we have to make it very clear. It is also very clear that the people, some of them who have interest in Kenya, are showing their true colors, that they have been so much against President Uhuru Kenyatta while he was in office, or while he is in office, even now. It cannot be left just like that and we sweep. With Malema, I'm going to address Malema with a full blast. I also have a very bad mouth. Luckily enough, I'm more educated. Malema is a school stupid dropout. Is nothing to me. Malema eats money from the whites at night and then tells the blacks to kill themselves during the time. Don't worry, I'm going to address Malema. And I will invite Malema for a showdown. You know we are giving Nico Punks around Africa to talk about Africa, and we applaud Malema. We applaud Malema as if Malema is anything in Africa. The type of poverty, ignorance, stupidity that exists in South Africa cannot be equated to you telling people in Kenya, telling Raila Odinga to keep quiet. Why can't he tell people in South Africa not to kill blacks? Why doesn't he tell other South Africans have been killed in South Africa? There are so many Africans that have been killed from Nigeria, from Mozambique, from Kenya, from Somalia, who are being killed by Malema's guns in South Africa. And he keeps on shouting, opening his mouth, telling people on the African continent, stupid. He's a very stupid man. And such people, he is busy undermining Mnangagwa's government with Kasukwere and a clique of G40. He wants to overthrow Mnangagwa. Then he talks about Africa. What type of man is this? I am going to address him because he's not equal to me. He's not equal in terms of everything. He can be equal as a leader, as a goon, and a vigilante. Some of us have not risen as vigilantes. We have risen as freedom fighters, really. Real freedom fighters from 1978. Picking AK-47s to remove Idi Amin up to today. We are still here. We don't just pretend to be freedom fighters. We have been in the bush. We have been outside the bush. Raila Odinga has been in the bush. He has been outside the bush. He has struggled for freedom. He must be respected on the continent of Africa. You don't come out to howl insults. Malema is plotting to overthrow Mnangagwa in Zimbabwe. He works with G40, who have given him trucks. Kasukwere has given him trucks. He makes money out of Kasukwere's trucks. Then he goes to tell us that we should do this rubbish. Tell South Africans not to kill people. South Africans, he's goons. He's killing so many people in South Africa. Whether white or black, nobody should die because of Malema's utterances. If he does that, we shall start on him also. We are not bothered. He can be convincing crowds because of social media, because you have talked about the whites. You don't talk about whites without explaining why you are not agreeing with the whites. You don't. You fear what killed Jesus Christ. And then you said you want Barabbas. Release Barabbas and kill Jesus Christ. Malema has no program for South Africa. South Africa is disintegrating. South Africa is going. There is no power. You can't stay in a hotel without the power being switched off. Which hotel? The Johannesburg that we used to have is useless now. You can't do your work for 5 hours before you are stuck in a lift. Where is the South Africa Malema is talking about? Walai, wala. He has found another person. There is a big, a powerful Malema in East Africa. I'm telling you, we shall tell him off after this. And it is going to be dedicated to him. Let him hear. We are not going to buy that cheap propaganda where you pick money from ultra-nationalists at night and come to tell blacks that we are fighting for freedom. No way. No way. I want a better Kenya. Why I want a better Kenya is because I have 28 refugees who left Uganda and they are in my village, who left Kenya in 2007, 2008. They are in my village, Miriam. They have made families. We have given them land. I have even left because I can't use it. I've told them to build their houses. Has Malema got any of the refugees? No sense. No sense. Thank you very much, Miriam. Starting the topic.
All right, so the fate of President Uhuru Kenyatta's leaving office next month now lies with the Supreme Court as it rules on petitions challenging the election of William Ruto as his successor. Uhuru, who has remained tight-lipped since the declaration of Ruto as president-elect, can only hand over power after the Apex Court gives its verdict on the matter. He can, however, refuse to hand over the swearing-in of the president-elect proceeds since this rests with the office of the Chief Justice after the final verdict is delivered. Law Society of Kenya President Eric Theory says the swearing-in can continue in the absence of the outgoing president. Upon taking the oath of office, the incoming president and his deputy would be properly in office, Theory told the Star last week. On Monday, 9 petitions were filed in court seeking to have Ruto's win nullified. In the petition, Azimio la Umoja, Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua want IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati declared unfit to hold office, and should the case grant this prayer. So what will happen, and should we have another election?
First of all, Miriam, thank you very much. The Constitution of Republic of Kenya is very clear, and I agree with the chairman of the Law Society of Kenya that with or without, but with, when you bring in with or without, you are a very cheap lawyer. It means you have not read beyond the narrative of LLB. You need to have a master's degree to enlarge an LLB to another degree level. When you say with or without, you are now also bordering, Miriam, you are bordering to the diplomats who, who say with or without, whether there will be a court decision or not. We still congratulate Ruto as president of Kenya elect. Hello? What about tomorrow if the court says stop? The chairman of the Electoral Commission. What about tomorrow if the Constitution of Republic of the Supreme Court of Kenya recommends, Miriam, and I repeat, recommends that Mr. Chebukati and the band of criminal enterprise that ate the money, that procured the documents, that went to print the ballots from heaven or hell. I think they printed it from hell in Romania. In Greece, there is no printing factory for this company. It is going to be proved in court tomorrow or the other day, when next week. There's no factory there. The papers were printed all over the whole world, including some African countries where papers were printed. If you want to finish the whole saga of these papers, Miriam, and the panel, ask Wafula one question. Where is the cargo manifest Wafula Chebukati will not give you a cargo manifest. He doesn't have it. Because a cargo manifest will document how many pallets have arrived, when did they arrive, which airline it was, the packaging of the pallets. Therefore, you cannot tell me that you cannot know which Mombasa and Kakamega. William, have you seen the narrative that IEBC, why Cherera, the deputy, stood up and ashamed Chebukati in front of the people? You cannot tell me if you have a cargo manifest, which is correct, you know the pallets that were pallet number, this, that was printed Mombasa, pallet number this was printed Kakamega. But this was a design to gerrymander this election. This was a design to make sure that Raila Odinga, people don't come out in big numbers in Kakamega and Mombasa to overwhelmingly vote Raila Odinga. Now we know. Now we know in Makueni, you can see what has happened yesterday in Makueni. They had a design. So, if you just say that, you will leave us not educated. Let me educate. Upon the Supreme Court could decide that this election has been nullified. But this time today, we are not, Mr. Chebukati, you are not going to leave this court without a reprimand. Media mark the word, without a reprimand. You have killed 2 elections on the same mistake which the previous court ordered for a rerun. The Supreme Court can give an adversary opinion. And I think all of you on the panel today, when you go to other forums or when you talk tomorrow, this is the gospel, which is very clear. An adversary opinion by the Supreme Court could be a new electoral body be formed to conduct a new elections. You will not refuse. You will not refuse. How will you refuse? The only way to refuse is to go to East Africa. We can't wait. And the only way to wait is the government in power. Are you now seeing where I'm coming from? Remember, as much as we talk about the Constitution, the ascendance to power, the Constitution also gives the current president to open up the parliament. Medium, have you not seen that? The current president, who is President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, either next week or the other week to come, will officially open the new parliament, which is already gazetted, and most of the members of parliament will be sworn in. So this was under the assumption that should the Supreme Court make a decision which is contrary, the government there can continue to function, and therefore the new parliamentarians can sit down and say no. The other speaker, the other chairman of the Electoral Commission and his members have to go. So it will take us back to how to sack the chairman or to arrest the chairman, because once the election is nullified with criminality, Mr. Kinoti from DCI in Masam, what is this, Kiambu Road, will have to move in to arrest the people who tampered with these computers, the people who made Kenyans to vote and they waited to change their will. That's a criminal offense. So in case the DCI of Kenya moves in to arrest those guys, this will give a very serious indication that there is going to avoid a constitutional crisis. The president current will stick, will have to stay, will have to open the parliament will be functional, and the parliament can constitute a new electoral body that can now conduct the elections, the fresh elections within 60 days. Now, you can, if it is a rerun within 60 days, without a complication of the commissioners, Miriam, the other time it was a rerun within 60 days, without when the commissioners were allowed to go scot-free. But in this case, the mathematics, don't forget the Kenyan election is mathematics. Are you hearing me? It's mathematics. The Kenyan election of 2022 is mathematics, the figures. The figures like today on this paper are very shameful. Look at the paper. Can you bring that paper, the studios in Nairobi? Very shameful.
The Stanis.
Bring them up. It's very shameful to people who are paid, who have 10 bodyguards, who are full of Chebukati has 6 bodyguards. 2 guard his home in Bungoma, 2 guard his house in Nairobi, and 2 guard his house of his concubine. I don't want to say where. So, excuse me. I'm telling you the truth. He has 6 bodyguards paid by the taxpayer of the Republic of Kenya. Africa has to clean such a mess. We have to clean a mess. Bring up that paper for everybody to see, so that we see the figures, production team. Bring the paper on. These figures are embarrassing. Surely. And then you expect the Supreme Court to smile? And the people are telling people, forget and move on. How to move to where? To hell? Or where do we move? To hell? With the figures that could be added by a primary 2 student and subtracted. Was there a virus in our flash calculator? I may ask. Because it looks like there was a virus. Douglas might know about a virus in the calculators because he's a strategic management student here. That everything, every figure. Stephen, I can't see the paper here.
It's there.
Oh, it's there because I'm not seeing. Oh, thank you. Look at that. So if you look at that medium, there is a problem here already. And let's talk the truth. A problem of that nature can only be resolved through a constitutional arrangement. Have we got enough constitutional safeguards? Safeguards that will keep this nation stable. At the moment, you don't want messages of congratulations. Another factor that is coming in that could destabilize the situation is His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto should be restrained from making statements appointing people, close allies of Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga. Is a political trick which is being done by Mr. Ruto to show to the court. He's very useless guy, that guy. Very useless in the name of God. You know, all things he does are trickery, thievery. If you live with somebody who is a thief throughout in blood, you look at what he's doing now. He's appointing people from Raila's place into positions in order to weaken, thinking he's weakening, so that the Supreme Court can say he's in charge of the government, which was fakely, on fake results, based on fake results, he was given a certificate. He's wooing the members of Azimio, sweeping them to his political party. That is a dangerous move that can plunge the country into chaos. So the law of transition, the constitutional crisis is being fomented slowly. That's why I brought this subject, for people to open up their eyes, their minds, to see we might face a transitional crisis, a constitutional crisis, if we are not careful. When the BBI was being brought, the BBI wanted to heal some of these constitutional crisis that is going to emerge by saying the president can appoint. And remember, once there is an extension of 60 days, the deputy president is no longer deputy, because he's already elected as president-elect. Therefore, you see, the constitution kept quiet. What would you do to a deputy president who has been elected as president-elect? And if there is a repeat of elections, does he continue as a deputy president? Miriam, does he? The constitution was still mum. So as a lecturer, is still a man who teaches, who can teach constitutionalism. Some people like Pierre Lumumba, my friend, they have kept quiet, or they have taken a low profile on this. Because I know the problem of my friend Piero. He's not on the side. I think if he speaks beyond himself and stands against a kinsman, it will not all go well. But that is very good. My friend needs also to save his own, life. So that's okay. Piero, I'm speaking on behalf of you. I'm saying the Constitution of Republic of Kenya did not envisage that a deputy president will rise up and go and become top of the election apex, on the apex of election, and become a president-elect. So what did it say? It didn't tell us, Miriam, you have read something there where they say, you will ascend, you will do this. Have you told us, in case the man coming, the animal coming into office, of course we believe is an animal, not a human being, coming into office, what does he look like? And if he looks like a deputy president of a former government, and there is a rerun, what do we do?
And also perhaps another constitutional crisis that we are staring at. We know that the four commissioners, Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera, Francis Wanderi, Justus Nyang'aya, and Irene Maset, all of whom were appointed in office in September last year, dissented by disputing the poll results. And from the story we were looking at yesterday, in yesterday's newspapers, all of the 7 commissioners in the IEBC will have to give their testimonies and the account of whatever happened in the court, and this will be the first time that any commissioner will be required to testify against the commission that they're serving with and the Supreme Court of all these cases that we've had there. So what will happen with that? Because the same commissioners are supposed to also, in case the court...
Miriam, you are right. On that one,
what will happen
now the Supreme Court has to heal. It has to heal this country from that disease. 7 commissioners are interested party in Raila Odinga's application.
All of them, Azimio's demand is for all of them to give their, they are all respondents in this case, so all of them, including Chebukati, will have to give his own account. And this is the first time we've seen any commissioner from the IEBC being required to testify against its own commission in the court. So what will happen? Should we now again, the court decide that the country should go to another election? So will the commission still be able to carry out another election? So
that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's a crisis.
Will this commission carry out the election, or there should be another commission?
And if there
is another commission,
Yes.
Now you have to extend the lifeline of the current president. And that's why the constitution was right by saying the current president can now call the parliament, constitute the members of parliament to elect a speaker who can be there in case there is a crisis. Because in case there is something, ungodly crisis now, and we have gone to a re-election, a rerun, somebody has to take power and hold the power for another 3 months.
And
so this is the constitutional, which the diplomats should read. They should employ Kenyans to be in their diplomats.
But even with that,
we should employ Kenyans with knowledge.
But even
to
with
come
that,
to your embassy and sit you down to teach you. In fact, after this election, I'm inviting all diplomats who are in Kenya to come to Pan-African Forum Seminar, which I will hold in Kempinski Hotel for free to educate them on constitutional arrangements of most African countries. I'm so ashamed that diplomats don't even know that there is a court process in Kenya which finally decides whether the president has been elected or not. And therefore you can send a note to say, Mr. President, I thank your party for having won elections. And we look forward to the process of clearing through the judicial means and cleared by the Supreme Court. If there are no complaints, then we look forward to your inauguration. That is how any head of state in the world would have written his paper. But for you to come into a country and write congratulating one side without congratulating the other side, which lost, yet they lost narrowly a margin of few dots points. It is sad. You can create the Ivory Coast Cote d'Ivoire crisis. I was there in Cote d'Ivoire with Kisano, President Kisano, and the President Mbeki as the African Union and peace observer, election observer in Cote d'Ivoire. We saw these two types of messages that kept on coming to one of Ouattara. They brought a chaos. So I am only cautioning my Kenyan friends and the diplomats and the Minister of Foreign Affairs should have taken advice to warn, to write a letter to the foreign embassies, to the who are accredited here to inform their presidents back home that the process in Kenya has not yet ended. Therefore, your issuance of such statements contravene the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya and could precipitate, good English here, into a dangerous scenario. Let's move on to another angle that could cause us a stalemate. There is a question of 138C, 138.3C. Miriam, many people have said, and many people continue to say, who is supposed to do what and where? 138.3C is very clear. And mark the words I'm talking to you about. After counting, let me speak Ugandan English. After counting the votes in the polling stations, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and I repeat, shall tally, verify, they count and declare the results. The result. Look at that. It didn't say Mr. Chebukati single-handedly. A candidate shall be declared elected as president. And then it goes on, describing. Then it comes to new number that it has not said. It talks about IEBC, and the chair commission, the commission. It has not singled out. Mr. Wafula is a spokesman of not trees. Lions in Mara Reserve Park. He's a spokesman of people who are alive. That's why the 7 commissioners have gone as interest that don't charge us, don't take us to court, don't take us to committee. We were not part of the announcement. If there are some commissioners who will come and say we are part of it, let's see it in court. And therefore, I now open up the debate. Quick, we summarize. We short past the time. We still have some 20 minutes or 10 minutes to come to 20:30 or 20. I do a takeaway. Let's briefly summarize from that. All of us. Miriam, back to you in the studio.
Very well, Kitanui, Sevania, the constitutional crisis that is looming in the Republic of Kenya, because even if the court rules that we go for another election, Azimio side is saying we cannot go to an election with the same commission as it is currently constituted. But the law does not provide for these other situations that we seem to be finding ourselves in here today.
Miriam, I agree with what Dr. David have actually stated, that we are actually heading to a very tough constitutional crisis in this country, Miriam. And it is upon Supreme Court, Miriam, to heal this country. You see, when we are faced by these challenges, Miriam, and I was of the opinion that we correct these situations once and for all, so that in future we will not be subjecting our country to this crisis. I am of the opinion that in case Supreme Court actually orders for a rerun or orders for another election, Miriam, it is not good to actually go with the same commission as this, Miriam. In 2017, we has failed to do that. That, Miriam, that we could rectify. If there is a way that we'll be rectifying these things, so that we will not be going to other elections with the same commission as Miriam, who have actually stood to condemn their chairperson, Miriam. I am of the opinion that we will not be having another credible elections with this commission, Miriam. So after Supreme Court ruling, Miriam, will go maybe for elections, or we will go like 2017. So it is good for us to rectify this, so that in the coming generation, so that when we will be moving, Miriam, all things will be sorted out. Thank you.
By rectifying this, Kiptani, before I move on to Javan, should Chebukati be found culpable of some of the things that happened there as the chairperson of the IEBC? Should he be charged with election fraud?
Very true. If he is, in fact, Miriam, he will be charged. He will be charged. He will be charged because there are a lot of things I'm seeing even in social media, people sharing on things, newspapers cutting. There is a lot of fraud, and Miriam, he will be charged. He will be charged. I have confidence that he will be charged and will take responsibility of what has happened in this country. I should, Miriam, after we followed all these results, this country planned to chaos 2008. People lost their lives, Miriam. So Chebukati will be charged, so that it will be a teaching aid for the upcoming chairperson, Miriam. Miriam, I saw in social media one time that there was, I don't know which country, the king or what became so corrupt, Miriam, and the only punishment he was given, he was skinned alive. and the same skin which was removed, Miriam, was used to decorate the seat of, so that when you sit, when you see, you remember that one time somebody was skin alive and you could not be corrupt or you cannot mess up the country. So Chebukati prepare committee direct.
Okay, Jevan. Are we facing a constitutional crisis?
Yeah. Yeah, Miriam, we're in a very awkward situation as a country because we are facing situations that maybe the framers of the constitution didn't anticipate. Now we are finding Raila Amolo Odinga going to the Supreme Court to challenge the outcome of this election. And they're giving some irreducible minimum requirement. If they are going to be a rerun of the presidential election, then the IBC, a commission as it's constituted now, should be disbanded and we reinstate a new commission. Therefore, that means the 60 days that the constitution guarantees for us to go for a rerun, we might not be achieved. Therefore, I don't know what the Supreme Court will say in such kind of a scenario. Maybe we'll add more days or more time to prepare for this election and to have a new commission in place to conduct the election and so on. Therefore, I'm looking at this issue from the angle of the legislature, because we have members of parliament who can maybe go and pass some legislation on what can be done to extend this time so that we can prepare adequately, have a new IBC in place so that we can go for this election. Then there is the issue of William Ruto and some of the petitions that he has sponsored through Silvana Sosoro and Moses Kuria. Them saying that if in any case the Supreme Court will order for a recount, that it should not be mandated to announce the winner. So I don't understand who that mandate should be given to, because as it stands now, Azimio will not agree to anything Wafula Chebukati says. Therefore, at the end of the day, Miriam, from both sides, they are putting us in a very awkward situation as a country, and we are we are heading to a constitutional crisis. But the best thing is that we still have a president who is in power. We have a function of parliament that will be in place in few days to come. The county governments will be doing their job. Therefore, there is no major services in the country that will be held hostage by the political happenings that we have currently. But Miriam, I also have a question. If the Supreme Court will not give us justice, will not give us Azimio or the Kenya Kwanza justice, what is the next avenue? Because if people will not be satisfied with the ruling, because I can speculate that there are people who will not be satisfied from either side, maybe Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, with the verdict that will be given by the Supreme Court. Where next for them? Are we giving them a channel to go to the street to demonstrate and cause havoc because they were not, they didn't agree with the findings of the Supreme Court? Therefore, I think at the end of the day, Miriam, even if we are going to the Supreme Court, or whichever means that we are pursuing to get justice, at the end of the day, after all is done, to settle the dust, the political players must be honest with themselves, must be honest with their supporters, and we come together as Kenyans and agree to work together to forge a front of taking this country to the next level. Politicians need to put their differences aside and reconcile so that we can take this country to the next level. Until we do that, Miriam, we will continue having dubious electoral systems, dubious electoral results that will surge this country into a kind of situation that we had in 2007. I think the people who have the key stakeholders in this process of election are the politicians. If they can agree not to engage in any form of electoral practices, and anyone who will be found capable of committing such crime to be deterred from running for political office, and any commission or returning officers and the clerks will be found to in any way have assisted in those kind of crimes, to be lined in a court of law and to serve the sentence, maybe we can start getting serious with this issue. But from as it is now, Miriam, we'll go around the Supreme Court in 2027, Miriam. We'll go through the same circle until we rectify our electoral system and our politicians becomes honest with themselves and the people of Kenya. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Doc. Back to you.
Thank you very much, viewers, and thank you across the continent of Africa and the entire world watching us. Javani Karanja, Tanui Savenia, Miriam Ogutu, you have raised quite a number of issues. Candidly and candid issues talked here, discussed here. Our advice, we are not condemning anybody who wrote, but we are only educating people who wrote messages. That a country is fragile. We need to be very, very consistent with messaging. Our messaging should be very clear. Wait until the final whistle, all avenues exhausted. Then you start congratulating one side. In congratulating Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we have killed democracy. We are not looking at the loser or allegedly someone who got 7 million votes. But because of mathematical errors, according to some of the applications that are on the ground, both of them did not garner the 50+1% in order to be declared winners. So good countries should have actually sent a message to Kenya Kwanza. If they have invested in Kenya Kwanza, they should have sent a message. That's okay, as a party, as a coalition. But you can't come with your documents, throwing documents across Africa, that you are congratulating a man when there is a court process. It's shameful. And it shows that we in Africa, we still have a long way to go in educating ourselves about African constitutions and Africa itself. Let me do a takeaway. This is the takeaway. The last 2 weeks in Kenya, there was an election. Elections were conducted peacefully, and every Kenyan woke up in the morning, voted peacefully. The voter turnout might not have been as impressive as it was expected. Most observers gave their verdict and went back home. The counting of elections in Kenya sparked a row between the IEBC, the commission that conducted the elections, and the parties that took place in the elections. The Constitution of the Republic of Kenya is very clear that should such an occurrence appear, that there is contention and there's somebody who is protesting against the results, that person goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya and the timelines in the Republic of Kenya have been given constitutionally. It would be very good in the future for African heads of state and other international agencies and countries worldwide to understand the constitutional arrangements of some countries in Africa. The education is very free. You can Google and find out what does the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya say. It is very easy for diplomats seated in Nairobi to advise their governments that it is Kenya Kwanza or United Democratic Alliance with a yellow color. And I repeat, it is United Democratic Alliance with a yellow color, a party, a coalition of Kenya Kwanza that has won election under the leadership of Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the former deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. His win, therefore, has been contested, and therefore, he holds a paper of a certificate of elect president, but the paper is not valid until, and I repeat, the Constitution of Kenya, which I'm holding here, is very clear. The paper is not valid until all avenues are exhausted, which means a constitutional arrangement will take place. A constitutional battle in the Supreme Court of Republic of Kenya will therefore take place, where the cases, both sides, will lay their reasons as to why this election should not be upheld. It is therefore naive, prudish, sardonic for any person in the world to wake up and congratulate Dr. William Samoei Ruto instead of congratulating Dr. William Samoei Ruto as a party head, a head of the party called Kenya Kwanza, or UDA, United Democratic Front. What does it mean? United Democratic Alliance of Dr. William Samoei Ruto as a party. It is sad for governments in Africa. It's sad for governments worldwide to start congratulating one side of a narrowly won election in a fragile state. This situation, therefore, reminds me of the situation of Ivory Coast, where Dr. Babgo and Dr. Ouattara both were declared winners. The Constitutional Court of Ivory Coast declared Dr. Babgo as the winner because it had the mandate to declare the winner of the elections. But the electoral body of Ivory Coast declared Mr. Ouattara a winner. The French congratulated Mr. Ouattara, and other countries followed to congratulate Mr. Ouattara. And a conflict started, a bitter conflict. I remember I was with Thabo Mbeki, Chisano. We had to leave when the conflict started and sparked in Cote d'Ivoire, in Abidjan. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Africans, those watching me and taking this clip, let's rise up and understand the constitutions of each country, that we don't make mistakes every day and walk away and cause chaos to those countries like Kenya, where the state is very fragile. From now onwards, those who pick this clip can start congratulating Mr. Ruto personally and the party. Because the process in Kenya, the paper that he is holding as a certificate is not yet valid until the court verifies it and decides who won the 2022 general elections. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to the part of Julius Malema. They will be cut from there. We want to take this opportunity to send a very serious message to Mr. Julius Malema that your utterances at times in Africa have been taken for a gospel truth. But you seem to be very less educated on matters of political science and constitutionalism in Africa, apart from your small South Africa. It is on record that you, Malema, has never come out to address the whole world as to why Africans are being slaughtered. Black Africans are being slaughtered by your goons, by your fellow South Africans. and you have never come out, took steps to stop Nigerians, Somalis, Kenyans, Mozambicans, Ugandans, and many other people, Eritreans, Ethiopians being slaughtered in Cape Town, Johannesburg, in other towns, and the Zimbabweans. Mr. Malema, you are on record for having been part and parcel of coup plotters who plotted to overthrow Thabo Mbeki, who plotted to overthrow Zuma. You now may be plotting to overthrow Mr. Ramaphosa. You have never had steady politics. Neither have you shown us where you get the money to run the Economic People's Party, or whatever you call the outfit it is. People would like to know who gives you the money. Mr. Malema, are you not a person getting money from George Soros at night to destroy South Africa? The answer is yes. You have been funded to some extent by George Soros to dismember South Africa and to dismember Zimbabwe for that case. You have been hosting the G40 group that has been wanting to destroy and take Zimbabwe to the dogs. Why have you been silent from talking to the G40, Kasukwere, Walter Muzembe, and others who are spread living, who have given you their trucks and their properties, which you run to get money to molest the rest of Africans? It is indeed high time, Mr. Malema, that you also weighed on the number of difficulties that South Africa is having, especially when one cannot sit in a Johannesburg hotel without the lights going off. South Africa is going down, while Malema, you are shouting at Raila Amolo Odinga to admit an illegality that has taken place in Kenya. I therefore tell you, Mr. Malema, that previously you have made statements that look like the Jews did not want Jesus. But when Pontius Pilate washed his hands off, they cried for their child to be brought back home for burial. The people of Nazareth were very confident that Jesus was innocent. Why don't we leave Raila Amolo Odinga and the courts in Kenya to make their point known, instead of you, Mr. Malema, drinking your whiskey or your brandy in South African dens, coming up not encouraging South African youth to go and work. They sleep from morning up to evening without work, and then go to kill people later on who have worked so hard. The blacks from all parts of Africa who have been killed, the Somalis, the Nigerians, the Cameroonians, the Zimbabweans, who have been tortured, who have been killed, paying us quite a lot. We gave you passports. We gave you homage. We gave you all our sacrifices. We gave you all the money to liberate yourselves. We paid taxes to liberate you. But you have paid us in a currency of killing our fellow black Africans who have gone to South Africa. May Malema desist from making sweeping statements that can cause trouble and chaos in countries like Kenya. Thank you very much, viewers. That is my statement. And Malema, you can contact Pan-African Forum, UK Limited, Chairman, or the numbers will be on the screen. If you want to have a conversation, or if you want to have a public discussion between me and you, I'm ready for the lecture, and I'm ready to lecture to you what political science means, because it seems you are eating money from the whites at night and shouting louder to the blacks during daytime. Thank you.